Hello people of the internet, welcome back to Millennium Edition 56, and today you may be thinking that we're doing some sort of studio tour, something to do with the studio, maybe even the drums, maybe the computer. Well, you'd be wrong on all fronts. We're doing another video about the Pixel. And no, not because the screen broke, although that might be soon. It is because we're taking a look at Android 10 today. So let's see what Pixel owners are currently being spoiled with. Alright, so I'm going to do this review in correlation to Android 9, the last operating system before Android 10. Android 9 was actually called Android P, or unofficially Pi. This Android is simply called 10. It's not called Q, it's not called T, it's not called G. It's called Android 10. This is a totally different Android. Well, not really, as you'll see, because most Android updates, even from way back in the day, were incremental, and this is no exception. So, the first noticeable difference is my screen ain't working again. Oh no, just kidding. It's a bug that I will describe later. So the first thing that you'll see that's different, at least on Pixels, is you'll see that everything is now the Google font. It is not like it used to be where, you know, there were some things that were Google font and some things that were not. No more. You have the Google font full time now. Don't you feel blessed? Alright, so the next thing we're going to draw our attention to is this screen. Now, if you own a Pixel like I do and use the fingerprint sensor, you may not use the screen all that much, but it is notable. Why? Because you see the first little thing about it. It looks like it kind of looks like an iPhone, honestly. Like, even right up to the unlock button being on top instead of on the bottom. And this little thing, which I'll show you here in a minute. Now it's time to unlock the phone and have a look. So the first major difference is the fact that there is nothing on the bottom of the screen. Why? Because now gesture controlled. Of course, unless you decide to keep the 2 or 3 button layout, which they will still let you do, as I will show you in settings. So you swipe up and you get your apps, just like the old one. Nothing new. But if you swipe up midway with your hand closest to the left side of the screen, you have this. And then, of course, like the last version of Android, you can just clear everything. If you go left or right when you're in an app, say you're in, Google Play, you're shopping for Text Now or something, you want to go back. Well, how do you go back in this interface? Simple. Use the side, pull back, or pull forward, or pull back on the other side, and that's your back button on this thing. You no longer get a back button. To close apps, you literally just swipe up. And of course, like I said, if you want to get back to the apps menu, clear, or the apps menu, if you do go down, it'll bring it back up. That was a little embarrassing. But if you swipe up, it goes away. So everything now on Android is gesture controlled. And let's be honest, it's a little bit too much like an iPhone. So let's talk about some things, other things that change. For example, now, you may notice I now have a dark theme instead of a light theme. Like in previous versions in Android, you were stuck with a light theme. But now you can get a dark theme if you want one. You got that modularity. Another cool feature I've noticed is on the top of the screen there, it says when your battery will probably run out, which in my case is 4:30. And it all depends on use case for you there. And then, of course, there's this. This is largely the same, except now it's got a new coat of paint. Kind of like the top of the indicators. They're the same, except they got a different coat of paint. And if you go over here, you have the same Google screen with lots of cool stuff in it. You can see all the stuff that I get to read every day. Pleasure. Including something I'm not interested in, but I keep anyway because I don't care all that much. Now let's look into the bones of this new update. So let's start with the Settings app, because that's where you'll get most of the bones. Now we're in dark theme mode. The suggestions have always been there, so that's not new. What is new, however, is, if I can find it, there you are. The advanced stuff is new, I believe, unless I'm wrong. You can switch between a dark and a light theme. Wallpaper, the night light is the same as usual. Adaptive brightness, well, that's been on Bones for years. Then you have auto rotate screen, screen timeout, font size, pretty much all the BS you get. And back up so we can get back on with the rest of this here. Then you have a system, which is pretty cool. You have all the normal BS like multiple users, reset options, backup, date, time, that type of thing. Gestures in Android has been nothing new. However, there are new gestures that you can choose from. Of course, you have more cool stuff. This is all accessibility stuff. This is all mostly the same, I believe, except for the dark theme. In this screen, the only thing that is not from Android 9 is dark theme. Everything else was in Android 9. In one of these menus, you can change the bottom of the screen from 1 bar to 2 buttons to 3 buttons. Another thing that I believe is new is the digital well-being stuff. Like you can show your data for digital well-being tools, you got other cool stuff, and then parental controls in case this is a child's phone, which is pretty neat. So those are all the tidbits I plan to cover in this video about Android 10. I know I missed a couple of small ticket items, but I mainly wanted to get all the big ticket items for this video. You know, the things that most people are going to care about. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. All comments and ratings are very much appreciated, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.